And now for the Realdiculous segment. What happens when life imitates art? Well, it's like pro wrestling and politics. Sometimes they're the same thing. And one of the best known public facts about yours truly is that I love pro wrestling. And this week, during one of my favorite podcasts, soccer commentator Rob Stone, when commenting on the U.S. Women's World Cup loss, said everything in life can be explained by pro wrestling. And not only did I agree with Rob's assessment, but it inspired me. His quote inspired me to apply this theory to politics because, you see, politics and professional wrestling in many ways are the same thing. When someone hits the campaign trail and stumps for office, it's no different than cutting a promo. You either get over with the crowd, meaning you move up the polls and get that big match you're looking for, or you move down the polls and not a soul in the arena dares buy your t-shirt. Recently, I can't think of a more practical application of this theory than in the debt ceiling battles, in which Republicans have branded themselves as the warriors of the Constitution and limited government, and the Democrats have taken up the mantle of the middle class and social programs for the poor. The result? Both sides have been stuck in a Royal Rumble for weeks, occasionally throwing one member of the other party over the top rope, stopping to cut endless promos from time to time, and even posing for the cameras. But much like wrestling, the promos are generally scripted, the fanfare in Washington has been staged, and the result doesn't matter because the outcome is generally predetermined. Both parties know that without a deal, more than 66% of Americans, according to a new poll, will hold them accountable for failing to get something done, which means they have to reach some sort of an agreement. So what both sides have been doing for the last few weeks has been the most elaborate choreography since last year's WrestleMania. Debt is killing our country's future. The fate of my financial future and yours, the fate of our children and their children's children. It's being mortgaged against posturing in Washington so that the powers that be can remain in power. The Republicans made it look like a good fight so that the Tea Party wouldn't be too upset with them, and the Democrats made major concessions on their side because they want to look like level-headed professors, like the ones they claim to be. But you know something, folks? They have a name for this in the wrestling business. They call it having a gimmick. And herein lies the reason why I prefer pro wrestling over politics. Because when I tune in every Monday night or buy a ticket to go see it at Toyota Center or Reliance Stadium, I do it with the understanding that I'm going to be very entertained for the next 3 hours. But after I drive home, I know that what I saw was entertainment. But the American people, they don't get to choose whether to buy a ticket or not, because they pay for a front row seat to this every day in Washington with something called taxes. And honestly, with the fate of our nation's economy in limbo, unemployment near 10%, and a bleeding middle class, I'm quite certain the last thing they want is our president acting like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and House Speaker John Boehner pretending to be John Cena. So gentlemen, leave the promos and high spots for CM Punk, because no one's chanting your name in Congress. And that is Realdiculous, my friend.
Well, what's ridiculous is what's going on there. You talk about wrestling.
Yeah.
In wrestling, you have tag teams.
Yes. Great analogy. I love it.
But the tag team member's throwing his own partner over the rope. That's what the Republicans are doing.
They're turning on each other left and right.
What we're seeing right now, I don't know, have you ever been to Disneyland or Disney World?
I have been.
Space Mountain.
Yes.
It's a roller coaster in the dark.
Yes.
That's what Congress is like right now.
And speaking of Space Mountain, Ric Flair used to always tell the ladies to ride Space Mountain. Woo! And that's where we'll leave you. Until next time, I'm Matt Topolski.
And I'm Roy Morales. God bless you, and God bless America.
Ric Flair, one of the great ones right there.